And with a yo-ho-ho, it's Tale of the Toaster. Welcome to a video on a game-breaking glitch found within certain versions of Inazuma 11.1. You may have seen me talk about this briefly in one of my previous videos, the Inazuma 11 Iceberg, but this is going to be the full walkthrough and guide to show off everything that this glitch can possibly do. So let's get the disclaimer out of the way first. What versions of the game can you actually do this glitch on? Well, not many. You can do it on the American and European version of Inazuma 11 released on the Nintendo eShop. And when I say European, that's everywhere in Europe except for the United Kingdom, which is why I'm playing on an American version instead, which I picked up years ago while I was on holiday over there. I don't believe this works in the Japanese eShop versions. I know that the game was released for free on the eShop in Japan. I can't test that version, but I have tested this on Inazuma 11 1, 2, 3, the compilation game of all the different Inazumas, and it did not work in that one. And finally, the European Inazuma 11 DS game, the most accessible one, definitely cannot do this glitch. Trust me, I've tried. But to actually showcase what the glitch is, this takes place in Chapter 8, the chapter where you will be taking on Farm Junior High, and it's just been announced that Jude Sharp has transferred from Royal Academy and will be joining Raimon. He has not actually joined the Raimon team yet, but he will very soon. We've just got the manual for Inazuma Break, and that's going to be one of the catalysts for where this game truly starts sending the game into a slippery slope and it just doesn't know what it's doing. So at the end of this cutscene where we'll mash through some dialogue, this is the moment where Jude is actually going to join our squad, and that's where things start to go wrong. So there you go. He's been selected for the Inazuma Break. We add him to our squad, and there we go. Now we're going to mess around with this somewhat and see just how badly it damages Inazuma 11. So we get kicked out of the club room. And then that's when the eagle-eyed players will notice you can actually do something quite destructive here. So, to explain a little bit more about Inazuma 11.1 and how it differs from future versions, entries in the series, it's really, really brutal in who it actually lets you get rid of. Like Kevin, for example. He has a story arc where he gets Dragon Tornado during the Occult match and has lines of dialogue with Axel and all of them. But as soon as the Occult chapter 2 is done, you may notice he actually never has lines of dialogue again. And believe it or not, you can genuinely get rid of him in certain versions of the game. That's included in 1, 2, 3 and even the one we're playing right now on the eShop. So Kevin is gone. There are still obviously players that you can't get rid of, like Nathan, for example, is stuck in there. So is Todd and Jack and Mark. And Jude is supposed to be one of these players, but he's not. And so you can get rid of Jude the moment he joins your team, and the game does not know how to cope. You're not meant to be able to get rid of this guy, and certainly this was fixed for many versions of the game because of how groundbreaking this can be. But here in the American version, in English language, we can get rid. So the game proceeds as normal for now. He still has dialogue. You can see, by the way, he has a different sprite. This kind of signifies that you're playing Inazuma 11.1 on its original engine, whereas if you're playing on the DS, he would have his updated sprite from Inazuma 11.2. So in certain versions of the game where Jude looks like that, you can do this glitch. But for now, it looks absolutely fine. He's just having lines of dialogue and storming off as he normally would at this point in the game. So I'm going to cut to the moment where things start to go wrong. So now we're in the club room. We've just had a motivational speech with some flashbacks to Ray Dark, and we're just telling Jude, yes, we want his help with the Inazuma Break. If you try to talk to Jude within this room, you get nothing. Absolutely nothing. You press the A button and then the dialogue and menu will disappear. You can do this as much as you want, but he will never ever say anything. He's just locked into being in this room, and you can turn his sprite around, but he will never ever say anything. So that's the moment you realise, oh no, things are going wrong. But it gets worse. So now, after we've taken a trip to the hospital and got Axel back on our squad, we head to the secret warehouse to practice with the Inazuma veterans. And, as usual, no synergy between Mark, Axel and Jude yet when practicing, but eventually, after enough dialogue, Mark gives his motivational speech, and then we're going to give the Inazuma Break an attempt. Attempt being the operative word in the case of this glitchy game. What happens to the Inazuma Break when you don't have Jude as a playable character on your team? Well, we're about to see for ourselves. Ah yes, perfect. I don't see any problems at all. And then he's just back. This power, incredible. As though nothing ever happened. But yeah, we just did a two-person Inazuma Break, including the ball getting kicked by absolutely no one. And yeah, that's certainly the most entertaining part of the game-breaking glitch. But, of course, we're not done yet. We've seen how the glitch can be funny. Now we need to see how the glitch can actually be game-breaking, because trust me, it is. For now, you at least get the opportunity to speak with Jude again, and by speak with, I mean you get absolutely nothing out of him, just like before. But yeah, so that was the Inazuma Break. It's worth noting that Inazuma Break is not added to Mark or Axel's moveset, it is added to Jude's. We don't have Jude. I think you can see where this is going now. So to advance the story, we are now ready to take on Farm Junior High. No, we're not. I still need to do some more training. Okay, now we can take the train to the match against Farm Junior High. But it will soon become clear we will not be defeating this team today. And this is obviously how the glitch becomes game-breaking. If you have dismissed Jude from your team, you have lost the ability to progress the game. So we're simply going to show why and how, and go into a bit more detail about the extent of the issues. So here's our squad, absolutely positively not containing Jude. It does not even contain Kevin. We simply have blank spaces from our dismissals. And there we have Farm, who also significantly out-level me, so that might make the gameplay section of this video a little bit challenging for me, because I'm about 10 levels under-leveled. But I'm just going to fire up straight away and try and take a shot to show... Come on, so finicky about this. Right, let's get fired up, which by the way is another difference I didn't know about. When I played through this game in Inazuma 11 1, 2, 3, the Japanese compilation, firing up actually happens at random, and the same is the case for the Japanese DS game. Whereas if you're playing the European Inazuma 11 2, or if you're playing this version released in wider Europe and America on the eShop, then you can fire up whenever you want by holding the L and R button, as if I've got a foul during my gameplay demo. Right, I guess I'll go for a clear run with Nathan instead. Let's see, we're on the verge of a cut here. Let's see if I can go for a Fire Rooster instead while I'm still fired up. I love the fired up music in Inazuma 11 1. Yeah, it looks like I'm going to have a bit of trouble actually getting the goal, so... brief cut. Okay, the shot is lined up, no more fouls on heat tackle this time. So if I were to go for Inazuma 1, or literally any other shooting move in the game, this obviously is not a glitch, this is how the game is meant to work, but when the ball arrives at the goalkeeper, he will do an infinite wall, and this is programmed to stop absolutely any shot in the game other than Inazuma Break on Jude's moveset. So you'll be met by this dialogue depending on what you do. You haven't got a chance, and if Sir break down our infinite wall, dang! Try the Inazuma Break against their infinite wall, lad. Evans, what do you think we've been practicing the Inazuma Break for all this time? Well, you haven't, mate. You've not even been here. You don't deserve to be the captain. Well, you don't deserve to be on the team, Jude. And as is the case. So it is impossible to score right now. I think the only possible way you might be able to get a goal is if you get some kind of deflection, if you can bait the goalkeeper away from his net. I would be amazed if it can be done. Like, I have gotten automatic goals in this game before, just purely on deflection. That might be the only way you could glitch the ball into the net. But certainly through any kind of shot or special move, it is impossible to get past that move, and they can do infinite wall as many times as they like. And in fact, as I mute my game now, we're going to transition over to some footage from the penalty shootout. Because yes, if you go the entire match without letting them score, you go 0-0 all the way through extra time, you can have a penalty shootout with these guys. And I think it's the only penalty shootout in Inazuma history where the outcome is actually rigged. You cannot score in the penalty shootout, and it will even give the same dialogue about how you have to score with the Inazuma Break, even though it's impossible to use the Inazuma Break in a penalty shootout, even if you are using Jude. So you cannot score, and they will score every time. So if you do go to penalties, you will still lose. You must score using Inazuma Break, which is part of Jude's moveset. If Jude isn't there, then the game will carry on no further. So that covers it for the full walkthrough of the Jude game-breaking glitch. Like I say, it's not possible in many versions of Inazuma, but if you live in Europe, outside of the UK, or in America, you can do this, and I imagine it's possible on the Japanese DS cartridge as well. Just not the 123 version or the eShop version for them. So, as a reward for making it to the end of this video and this little glitch showcase, I'm going to end this video off by bringing an end to my Inazuma 11 1, but it's the American dub video that had all of the cutscenes and voice acted lines from chapter 1. So now that I've finished the rest of the game, I'm going to include the rest of those American cutscenes and voice acted dialogue lines. So, see you in another video.
Is that Royal Academy? Inazuma 11? Ha! You've got to be kidding me! What is that? Sorry to keep waiting, my Raimon guests. This is your final destination, Zeus Stadium. Let's do this! victory is everything. Hillman. Ray Dark. Someone who has never lost can never understand the true meaning of victory.
I think we might really beat them. The legendary Inazuma 11.
No. Our legend is just beginnings.